It has gone 9 o'clock, and it is fantastic to see all your friendly faces. I am going to open this meeting with a Karakia for us, because that is what we need today. So, dear God, thank you that you have walked alongside our community in this very, very tough time. We ask your blessing on those that are really struggling. We ask your blessing on everyone else who are trying to reach out and make sure people are taken care of. It's a tough time for our community. It's a tough time for our country, and it is a tough time for our neighbours in Wairua and Napier as well. So God, we ask that you bless the workers. We ask that you bless whānau that lost people in this event. It is heartbreaking, and we know we will get through it with your help. In the Father's name, amen. Okay, so councillors, it is just so lovely to see everyone. Thank you for being here today. And what we thought we would do is go through our official meeting. I'm going to hand over to Nadine very soon. That will give us a situational update. So just for clarity of this meeting, myself, Josh, Debbie, Rawinia, Ani, and Rob are members of the Civil Defence Committee, which we will be passing some names just to supplement people that we need to work on the ground. So when we vote later, can I please ask, if we vote those people on the committee, just vote like this with your real hand, not your little yellow hand. It makes it really difficult if I can't see it. So any apologies from the committee members? I see Councillor Wharehinga here, Councillor Gregory, Parata, Pahura Huriwai, and Telfer. So the whole committee is present. Thank you very much. And then I also welcome our colleagues who are joining us here face to face for our first all online Zoom hui. It's wonderful to see your fabulous faces. And before we start, I just want to extend gratitude to each and every one on here, because you guys were there to keep our community calm. You guys were there to give direction and information to our community. And then when it was the time, you guys were down here with gumboots and shovels. Ani and Rawinia up the coast were actively involved there from day one. I know that our other councillors were here out working in our community, and I cannot thank you enough. I'm so proud of our effort. And as we move forward, more and more of that will be needed as we move into our communities and help with the tidy up. So any declarations of interest? So then I'm going to take you to our minutes, which is on page 3. I know it might be tough because people are on screens as well as trying to open their agendas. That was our meeting on the 23rd of November that we caught up, and we discussed the Hikurangi Magnitude Planning Workshop. We had the Tairāwhiti Marae Preparedness and Resilience Project, and then our Readiness and Research, NEMA updates, and then some other discussions. Can someone please move the minutes? Councillor Pahura Huriwai, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Telfer. All in favour? I'm just going to ask the committee members to vote. Thank you. So if you're not part of the committee, you don't have to vote. I just need to make sure our committee vote. That is passed. Thank you. We move to page 8 of 20, which is our action sheet. Let's take a look. Everything is due dates, reports to the chief executive, hazards of mud volcanoes, staff will report back. So lots of these action sheet items will play second fiddle now that other stuff move into its place. I'm just giving a heads up that there are some items there. I'm just looking at the work that Dr. Murray Cave is doing. He's not going to give us information on mud volcanoes very soon, because he's dealing with real debris dams and stuff. So Nadine, we will update this as we go to make sure the priorities sit right at the top. Julio, acknowledgements and leave of absence, acknowledgement and tributes. Like I've said before, I cannot acknowledge our civil defence team our iwi partners, NEMA, the government's response, police, FINS, ambulance, the schools, every single organisation that has formed part of this response. You can see that this is not our first walk in the park, and our community and our teams behind the scene, which Nadine will speak to shortly, knew what to do. We were as prepared as we could be, and moving forward, there's a coordinated effort to make sure we get to people what they need, and that is the logistics behind the scene that our recovery manager and the recovery team have in the Rose Room and actively working on. So just an acknowledgement there. I also want to acknowledge John Coates and the passing of John Coates. He was a well-loved member of our community. I know that our staff also acknowledged John because he was part of some roading work as well. So to the whānau of John Coates, lots of aroha. Okay, public input and petitions, extraordinary business, notice of motion. Nadine, I am going to pass over to you. Thank you very much. And we are in your hands, and then we will pass the paper. I think first a general overview, and then we will pass our paper.
Yep. Morena tātou. Great to see you all. It's been, fair to say, a tough, actually tough month for many of us. Just for context, some of us have been riding through from the last cyclone into Cyclone Hale into this cyclone, and so there are a lot of tired bodies, but still mucking in and taking care of ourselves to ensure that we support the civil defence effort that all our agencies have been a part of. And I just want to also take this opportunity to acknowledge the awesome team that we have here at Council, our staff that have also been out mucking in, gumboots on, working some really long hours beyond the call of their ordinary lives to support our community. And also goes without saying, our emergency partners that have been with us from day one in this. So we're working in quite extreme context of trying to carry business as usual. And I think this is the I guess one of the challenges, but also the opportunities that it presents as a unitary authority for such a large geographical area, having to draw on staff, trying to maintain some form of BAU, but also leaning in fully to support the civil defence efforts. So that's, I just want to acknowledge your patience and support for our team and for myself through this, and your professionalism as we've worked through, managing through an operational sense. So a big mihi to all of you for your support of us in this space. What I thought I'd do is I'll just, I've got a dashboard, and I might not be able to talk to some of the detail that is here, has been our group controller is otherwise engaged, but I'll try and talk to as much as I can and hopefully be able to answer some of your questions that you may have. So this, I'll try share my screen. Okay. So this is a summary of where we are tracking. So this is what we use to get a sense of what's happening in the region. It's a high level dashboard. So what it shows in terms of our welfare assessments, the collective welfare team has assessed, undertaken 1,000 or close to 1,300 assessments, and identified from those who needs food support, and who those are households heading to the civil defence evacuation or the emergency centres, and the total of number of people that would have otherwise been engaged with in some way or form. This shows the assessments that have been completed and closed. So they've been received, they've been assessed, there might have been some intervention or some support, and then they've been able to move off and or back into their homes. So here we go, is around the houses that need financial support. So it just breaks down for us a bit of a state of play across the region by way of welfare support. We do have a welfare group which comprises agencies and community reps that meet daily to review stats, tasks, and update information for us. And then you can see down here just some around the insurance related needs as well. So that's welfare. I'm going to also come back to all the other aspects in terms of utilities, etc. But I just wanted to show you these two high-level dashboards. The other one is around houses and our red stickers and yellow stickers. And as you can see here, the majority of red stickered properties are sitting in Uwawa area and a few in Gisborne. So 12 in total that have been red stickered, which is, you would have seen our pānui around red stickers are uninhabitable. They're dangerous not to go back in there. There are 159 moderate stickered buildings. So we haven't got any up the coast, as you can see further up there, but our team are being deployed, and just a pānui that we'd like to get out there, because I know there's a lot of anxiety when our building inspectors go and visit houses, what it might mean for whānau if they are red stickered or yellow stickered. But our team intends to travel around up Opotiki Way, coming in around the top this afternoon. So would like to get as much reach as we can out there to get some intel around where some houses we may need to look at are, and just so we can get them some information around the process and wrap any support that they might need there. At the moment, the main risk, where the main need is in the city. Most of the connections up towards, the connections in terms of the highway accesses is easily accessible now via Opotiki coming into Ruatoria, but we need to just get some more information on the ground, what that looks like in terms of housing and whether there are any houses that have been completely impacted. So if you are aware, please feed me in some information, and I'll get that into our civil defence team, but also we'll send out some information also to you so that you can send out through your networks as well. So that's just high-level dashboard stuff. I'll stop sharing my screen. And so just in terms of the response levels, and we will have a report to you, and he's hoping we don't have another cyclone that interferes in between that time too, but with all the information and the stats and water levels, etc. But we do know that this was equal, if not more severe than Cyclone Bowler in terms of some of the measures that we've gauged on the river. As Ben, I think Ben's quote, there's a couple of beauties that I've heard, was that, Cyclone Bowler in the history box and water everywhere and not a drop to drink. But we've got some stats here that show, though, that in terms of some of the work that's been done, flood control, the investment that happened by central government to accelerate that work actually assisted in avoiding what could have been quite a catastrophic situation citywide. So that was when the Prime Minister and Minister of Civil Defence visited, that point was really made. And of course, with Minister Allen on the ground in terms of central government investment in infrastructure. So what's in terms of the situation that we're at now, we're stabilising. So what that means is that, as you know, we've got our comms in place. Electricity supply is there, albeit majority of the region are connected, with some pockets not still connected, which Eastland Group have been working on, Eastland Network, sorry. We've had also the schools, most schools are open. I think there were about 4 that were yet to open, and 50% of the early childhood education centres in the region, that was at yesterday, were open. We have roading. We do have a few issues with some access, but the team are still working very hard there. What else? We are currently working on our donated goods plan. So that's becoming an issue, and it'll be an issue for council in terms of any liability or storage. So we found from previous events that donated goods became quite expensive in terms of disposal, but also storage and all the requirements around that. So that's a key focus, along with some supply chain management issues that we've been working on too. Silt management, that's been a biggie, and we've found 2 sites. We will be putting some announcements out later this morning as to where the community can go and dispose of their silt. In terms of the water situation, and I've got Dave Wilson, I'm expecting him online at 9:30. He will provide you an update as to what's happening out there. He's currently up at Waingaki looking at that, but we have got the Waipawa backup emergency supply on with a number of pumps that are there to try and get to supply water, which is still only 30% of our requirements, and that includes no industry operating at this stage. And when I say, just to clarify, no industry operating, that's using reticulated water supply. Some industries have, like the likes of Leaderbrand, have their own supply and have been working with us and working with the sector to try and look at other solutions. So industry are okay to use their own water that's not on the reticulated supply. We have had a number of trucks that have come in which can clean and filter water, which is great. We haven't had to use them for our residential supply at the moment, but we just need to keep in mind that the volumes that they are doing are tiny relative to what our city or reticulated water supply needs are. So the message is still very much, we need to conserve our water and restrict that only to essential use, hygiene, medical needs, drinking water. So that is where we're at. Probably missed a whole lot of other information, but I'm sure you've got lots of questions that hopefully I can answer for you. I just want to say we've also had the emergency management team from the Bay of Plenty.
Ooh, there's some action there. Oops, Nadine, you are muted.
Are we back? Okay.
You were talking about the Bay of Plenty team. Awesome.
Plenty team, yep, they are a super fly-in support team for us. So they came in and provided surge support. So they were winding down today and leaving region tomorrow. And so we're putting in place plans to have that continuity across, but we have been inundated with support from all over the Motu and locally. Everyone has just been really generous in terms of their willingness to help.
Any partai, just make sure you put your hand up and we will, and Nadine can answer that.
Sorry, also, I just wanted to let you know, I cannot multitask with a chat bar on the side to me, so you need to raise your questions in the forum, please.
Yeah, I can also not operate that and check the floor. So if people have questions and queries, you can ask. But I just want to say there are sit reps sent out with all the information. The civil defence team, the comms team, top notch. They have been working 24/7 to every few hours pump out new information where you can get non-potable water if you have to wash down your house, or where you can get supplies. So for councillors, for those specific requests, please first check with that, because we have not had time to check our emails yet. And I've got 10 days. It feels to me since the 10th of January, the emails and their jobs that are sitting behind the scenes. So if possible, please do a little bit of research first. And then if you don't, and if it's not really essential, please feel free to hold that question until we are back into more normal times. Nadine, maybe, Annie, and then Tony, thank you.
Kia ora, kura. Ngā mihi, Nadine, thank you, and much appreciation to everybody there doing the mahi every day. I have a question in regards to the industries that are reliant on the water. I know some whānau have reached out in terms of their employment being impacted, so they can't go to work, obviously. What is do we have any idea, Nadine, on when the water situation in town will be resolved, in particular for those ones? Because similarly up here on the coast, while we do have some who work down in town in innovation and places like that, but also the forestry, obviously. The next thing we're sort of concerned about is household incomes being affected and lining them all up with MSD and other places like that. But do we have a timeline on when those might be able to operate again?
Kia ora, Annie. Councillor. So what's happening in that space? So that's kind of the phase when we move into a transition into recovery, and now we're starting to talk about that. So we are making those plans around transition. If I step back before I answer your question, what's happening at the moment is, because we're under a national state of emergency, and that national state of emergency has been extended, we are waiting for that call to be made around national transition. And so what that means for us, though, is that we're still very much focused on recovery planning while we're moving out of our response. What we've been doing is leaning into our partners. So the likes of Trust Tairāwhiti have led out in terms of business discussions. So they had a hui, and one of the councillors, I think it was Councillor Robertson, asked some questions around that hui that GDC were part of. And that's a regular industry hui that they're holding, looking at Horton agribusiness. So that's happening daily, looking at different solutions for them in that space. With regard to the wider water recovery or water recovery response, that's something that the team are currently, and the engineers are currently having a look at as to what's like a quick fix that we can do. But also we need to think about and be advocating for a proper, a resilient approach to restoring that water pipe. A simple fix and patch up isn't going to withstand future weather events, which we will see more frequent events as we go forward. So it's very much a discussion that once we've got all the engineering expert advice back in, that the council through the mayor and yourselves will need to be having with central government around, especially in light of Three Waters and water investment, around a proper fix for this. So I can't give you a response at this stage because we haven't had all the engineering advice back. But while we're running off Waipawa, it'll be very difficult in my mind to see industry coming back on, because Waipawa is only a secondary supply, and we need to ensure that our residential users, our necessary use is met first. But rest assured that there is the team are looking at that, a multi-agency approach led through Trust Tairāwhiti with industry.
Tony.
Thanks, Nadine. Thanks, Nadine, so much for all the awesome mahi you and your team have been doing. Have I muted myself? No, am I unmuted?
We can hear you.
Okay, that's weird. 2 questions. So rates were due a couple of days ago. Did we make any extra provision for people who can't get into pay rates? I didn't see any sort of, there might have been a pānui on that in passing. I hadn't seen that.
Great question, Councillor Robinson. Yes, we have. I just approved that yesterday, so comms will be going out in terms of rates relief for our community. We are also looking, we're also putting in place free parking, that we're just working out the timeframes within which that will apply. So we'll get some comms out on that. I hope to see that coming out today if they're not already communicating that over the counter.
Will we extend the period for the non-imposition of the penalty clause for a couple of weeks or something like that, just to let people get through that tough period of getting in?
I will come back to, what I'll do is I'll just get the information out to you. It's quite detailed. And then if there are any further questions that aren't answered in what we're doing, then you can come back to me on that one.
All right, thanks. And both Josh and Awinia respond to my question about the numbers of actual households without power, but my last sit rep was from November last year, and I couldn't find it on the Tairāwhiti CDM page. So do we know roughly how many households are left without power, roughly what regions, and roughly what timeframe Network says they're going to get them done by?
So as of 1700 last night, we had 303 customers with power off, 266 of those in the Tairāwhiti region and 37 in Wairoa. I believe Tauwhareparae might be one of the areas. There is a generator supplying power to the East Cape Road, and we've got now access. So there are other generators flowing on, but that was last night. Things have been changing by the hour in this, so I haven't got an update this morning.
Okay, it'll be good to, I don't know where that information normally lies in all the plethora of data that keeps coming out to us, but if that'll come out as its own separate little highlight, it'd be quite good to know. Thank you. Just the other thing was, on the water supply, like, I thought we relied on Waipawa and not the dams, like leading into summer, so we were able to maintain the dams. And there never seemed to be historically a problem with us running out of water. So I was just trying to get my head around why Waipawa is not able to now produce enough for even day-to-day stuff, because from my understanding in those periods, or were we supplementing it with dam water?
We were supplementing that. We always had the dam water, so when the water at Waingaki was low, we would supplement with Waipawa.
Oh, okay. And have we got any further with supplementing Waipawa with the Leader Brand's offer of the 100 million litres?
I'll leave that to Dave to update. My understanding was that it wasn't as successful as we thought it would be.
Oh, bugger. Okay, thank you.
Larry.
Thank you. You can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep, okay. It was just on the news this morning that red stickered houses in Thames Coromandel were going to have rates postponed on them when they're red stickered. And I'm just asking the same question if we're going to do the same. Apparently Auckland isn't at the moment, but it seems to be a bit of concern out there. So if people can't live in their houses, are we going to still rate for them?
That is a good question, Councillor Foster, and it's not on my list of just having a look in terms of our emissions. I will follow that up with the team as to what we may. Oh, actually, it is. Sorry. Yes, there is a remission available. It's okay. Not. It's a remission. So yeah.
It's just rates relief. It's not a total rates. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send that information out so that everyone has it at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to just shout out to our front desk team before Awinia speak that they have been dealing with individuals coming in here with individual rating issues and questions, rates due on the 20th, or questions and they do deal with every household as an individual and look into their situation and offer them the support they can. So also just a shout out to our front desk team who have really, really worked hard to be that interface as well with people coming in and having very specific questions.
Sorry, Your Worship, I didn't see Pauline, Pauline's little face up there. So if she could potentially just respond to the rates remission questions.
Thank you, Pauline.
Yeah, sure. Nadine has, so it's been approved that there's a blanket penalty remission of people who can't pay on the for the next instalment up until about the 31st of March. That's the first thing. Houses that are red stickered and yellow stickered, we will also apply remissions on rates up until the end of this this financial year. Those that are red stickered from then on will be assessed on a case by case basis. But more likely that the red stickers will continue thereafter in the new financial year. There will also be remissions for any third and fourth sonnet, the last installments of this financial year, for they're severely impacted by erosion or anything else other damages. We will also look at payment arrangements or postponement of rates for up to 6 months. Some of the things that we provide for these packages in relief to the community as occurred during COVID. So some of that information was straight away when we had that on the radio, say, hey, don't worry about it in terms of penalties and other things, but contact us, and some of the things on the website is there, but we're trying to make sure that it's one centralized place so people can easily get the information. But that message has been confirmed at front desk, any calls that we go through.
Awesome, thank you, Pauline. Rawinia.
Morena tātou, zooming in from Victoria. I've got a few things on my mind. I just firstly want to say a big thank you to Nadine, to your team, to Kumerua, to the controller. I understand that our issues up the coast we're not, I suppose, not as complex as some of the issues in Te Karakia and in Turanganui-a-Kiwa, but it is nice to have the expertise that sit around us when we really need. So I just wanted to acknowledge the mahi happening in that space, and also the mahi happening up the coast from our civil defence teams who at this point have been working day in, day out, and still going. Like Nadine said, we're also really, really tired and got told to take a half day today because more rain is coming tomorrow and we don't know what that will bring for us. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to acknowledge that mahi, acknowledge that this is a difficult, challenging time for everybody, and let you know that in Te Tairāwhiti, in up the coast at least, we're okay. We're alive and we're all right. And we're doing our best to look after ourselves and each other and the communities near us. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that that's the case. In terms of red sticker homes, and I'm just going to ask this the way it came to my mind. Why would I give you that information? You know, like what is that going to do for whānau here? Like if we red sticker houses here and they can't live in them, what does that mean for our whānau? Like, what if they don't have insurance? What if, you know, I just want to be really clear about what does that process do? And are there any mechanisms in place to actually help whānau, or does it just stop them from going home?
Kia ora, Councillor. Yes, that's definitely been the concerns from the community. We heard it when, you know, the first time when it happened in Tokomaru. Te Karaka was the same. So the team were initially turned away, then they went back and had a hui to talk about what that means. In some instances, you know, not all insurance companies are the same, but where there is insurance, having the red sticker almost accelerates access to that insurance. It gets rid of a number of concerns that the insurance agents might have. And if there are other people listening online also just on insurance, to ensure that they are taking photos of everything, because the insurance agencies are there to help, but they may not be able to reach. So having photos taken. So the key thing is around that. And we understand that there may be, you know, it's people may be reluctant or scared too, because it does mean that they can't go back into their property. We get that. Part of the process of, well, part of the response is that we ensure that there's a welfare follow-up support for that team, or for the whānau if they do need some emergency houses. So there is a relationship back with the teams that go out in there to bring the information back, so that there can be a wraparound response to that. And some of them are quite quick fixes, like with the yellow sticker, it's you know, maybe moving some of the jib and drying areas out. At the end of the day, we want our whānau also to be in healthy homes as well. So it's finding a balance around some practical outcomes that we can support on the ground if the red sticker is required. When we're talking red stickers, though, these houses are uninhabitable. They've probably got mud up to 1 metre high. So you wouldn't expect that whānau would be living in those in any circumstances anyway. It's probably the yellow ones where there's a bit of concern. It may be moisture in there, but I think that with red stickered houses, you'd really want to be supporting around some alternative accommodation issues, accommodations.
Could I ask one more supplementary question?
Yes, and then we'll move to Dave Wilson, who's on very limited time, and then on to Debbie. Thank you, Ravinia.
Okay. Thank you, Nadine. Appreciate that response, and appreciate that we might not have that many homes probably here in Ruatoria that would fit that criteria. So that's reassuring. Though I'll be reluctant to hand over that information unless I can get confirmation from, it may not be GDC, but from one of our agency partners that that alternative accommodation will be made available to whānau, because there is none here. Yes. So and we'll be reluctant to send information that will displace families here if there is no alternative accommodation. But thank you for all the mahi you do, and thank you for the response.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dave Wilson. We know you are in and out of the building. Thank you for taking the time to quickly talk to councillors. Now I can't see you. You were just here. Did he drop off? Debbie, you go, but if Dave comes back on, I will just interrupt, because I know he's just in and out. So you go, Debbie. Okay. Thank you.
Is my sound on?
Yep, all good.
Yeah, I just got a quick thing. I've got lots of questions, but a lot of it's too early. But I just wanted to say the communication that we received leading up to this event was absolutely fabulous, and enabled some people, like personally myself, to do stuff that stopped us from actually flooding in our house. And then again, the communication since we've been back on, just big bouquet to that team and all you guys down there. I think it's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Debbie. Mr. Dave Wilson, we know you're in a rush, so we will open the floor and you can talk to us. Thank you.
So, kia ora, councillors. The thing for me is just, I'd like to give you a quick update of where we're at up here at Wainaki. The reception's really bad. We're on a Starlink and we keep getting power surges up here. So what I'm going to do is I'll quickly try and share my screen with you, and then we'll go from, why is it? I'm just trying to get, oh yeah, right on.
Email it through to Nadine and then she can share it maybe, or it might not go.
So just where we sit at the moment, this is one of the breaks that we've got here. So Nadine, you've got the same presentation. If I drop out again, sorry. So this is one of the breaks that we've got on the pipe.
Sorry, Dave, I do not have your presentation.
It's in the objective link. Jade should have it that was sent through. It's an objective. So just quickly where we are at the moment, you've just seen one of the breaks that's in the pipe there. This is the Waipawa treatment plant, which is where we're getting our water for town from at the moment. So Waipawa at the back, just really quickly, those are the settling ponds that we're getting the water out of the Waipawa River, and it's completely covered in silt and it's a mess at the moment. It goes through to those big circle tanks you can see there, the clarifiers, and then just you can see those white kind of tanks that are sitting there. Those are the sand filters. Then it goes through about 540 cube an hour. That's what it can do. So for us, it's trying to make sure that we keep it running at that. We've had multiple issues with it, but it is an old plant and it's struggling to clean some very, very dirty water. With the current restrictions, we're able to keep up at the moment with the water demand. But before that, we were losing ground. So that plant can make about 8,000 cube of water a day. Before we put the current restrictions on, the city was using 12,000 cube a day. So we were going backwards. At the moment, we call it making water. So the reservoirs are actually topping up at the moment and they're slowly coming up. They're not coming up fast, they're coming up slowly. So that is working at the moment. We're winning about 4,000 cube, we think, a day at the moment, depending on water use. The reason I say depending is because schools have gone back. There's some other restrictions. We're just waiting to see how that plays out, but we need people to keep preserving water. So this is where I am at the moment. I'm up at the Wainakia water treatment plant. So Wainakia itself has got no water coming into it from the dams or the river at the moment and can't send any water out below us at the moment either. So we've got a whole range of things that we're talking about at the moment, and I'm going to use some different terms, so I thought I'd quickly talk them through just so you know where they are. So the raw water line is what we call it. That is everywhere above the treatment plant that I'm sitting in, right back up to the dams, up to the river intakes that we have. We have got a river intake, and you'll hear me call that bush intake. Then the other part is getting from above the bush intake up to the dams. And with all of this, we only know what we know at the moment. There's still a whole range of things that we're trying to work through, but it's only the faults we can see. There may be some that are buried, there may be things that have moved, which is why we've got multiple options to look into restoring water supply across the district. And I'll So you can see the circle in the middle there where the bridge is, that big rock abutment. It's the work that's been taken out in the last week to actually even be able to connect the treatment plant by road to get into town. The first break on the line there is that second bubble to the left. We can see those trucks. That abutment gave way there and got destroyed. And you can see that photo on the right. That's a close-up of what happened to the bridge. So they've restored access pretty quickly. This is the current state of the lakes at the moment. So those should be nice, clear, blue, beautiful lakes. But you can see a whole heap of stuff's gone into those. They're chocolate. So Willy Wonka would be proud of those. The problem we've got is trying to treat that water when it gets to Wainaki. We don't have the same sort of settlement ponds that we do down in Waipawa. We don't have that up here. Those lakes will take about 2 months for that sediment to settle. It takes a long time, and that's without a whole lot of rain flushing into those things. You can see the slips that have gone, and there's a lot of sediment in there. So because we know that's going to take a long time, this is one of the first of the options we're trying to work through at the moment. So for those of you that are familiar with the plant, this is the Te Aroha River directly below the treatment plant.
Let's just wait for Dave. Is it just me or is everyone not hearing Dave?
Can't hear him.
I don't hear him.
Okay, so let's just give him a second. I'll just ring him on the phone to see if we can. He's just dropped off, so we'll get back. We will get him back. Oh, Dave, are you back? So you're muted. So you dropped off the slide. You had the slide with the 2 red circles where abutments were gone. So if you can maybe just go to the slide after that.
So this emergency take, have you heard this bit?
This is where you stopped.
Okay, cool. So the emergency take there, we hope to get 400 cube an hour out of the river and send that up to the treatment plant. We won't be able to treat that 400 cube because it's still got a high sediment load. So we're trying to work through that. So this is the raw water line. This is about 6 k's up the river. You can see that's the first break that's happened there. So this is just below the hut. This one here, Universal are working on, and we're hoping to be lifting some pipe back into here, sort of middle of next week is what we're working on at the moment, timeframe wise, to put this piece in here. It'll be a completely new bridge that we'll put in. It's easier than trying to repair what's there. That's bent, buckled.
Oops. Just losing you, Dave. So we'll just, councillors, I do have the presentation and Heather will make a PDF and get it to you. We'll just see if we can get Dave back. But you can see him. Dave, you just dropped off with a raw water line.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's really hard. This raw water line, I might just skip through. There's a whole lot of breaks. Can I just say that, councillors? There's breaks all through. So what we've done is we've divvied these up between the 3 big engineering firms in town. So Gisborne Engineering, Mechanics, and Universal have been up here with us, and they've split the bridge abutments between them as to who's going to be looking after which one. This here is Rabbit Road. This is the break on Rabbit Road. So water was flowing out of here when we flew up to turn it off. So there was quite a bit of water pumping through here. Chris Hurring, the forestry contractor, has done a lot of work rebuilding this back up to be able to connect this pipe up. That pipe will hopefully be on a ferry from Picton today and will be here tomorrow. So they're looking to install this on Friday to join this back up to try and get the Rabbit Road connection back on. As you can see, she's in pretty big break. We're in some really challenging conditions here, councillors. Trying to get through. Access has been extremely difficult. Huge thing to Matt Mead's team, have actually punched a very rough track all the way up. But as you can see from the pictures, those forward crossings, the mud, it's quite real. And so is the slips and everything's moving. So the next steps is for us to get the water line back up and running, to be able to running water back into town. This is that break just below the school that the team are working on there. This has been lifted out and the new piece is ready to go back on, and they'll start installing it today. So they've done a fantastic job to get to here. They had to take it out because it's far easier to do it in a workshop than try and do any of this up here. And that's the new piece being lifted back into place yesterday for the bridge. Now they'll start connecting the pipes up. This is that abutment I showed you at the start. And that's probably the end of it from me, councillors, because the pipe's broken quite badly, should we say, in a lot of multiple places. Now, just so you're aware, we're looking at different water supplies everywhere and how we're going to bring more water into the city. So we've been working with Leaderbrand, we've been working with a whole range of different people. We're taking water out of a private line to bring it into Waipawa to mix clean water with our dirty water. So we're very much tuning through it, trying to get as much production to Waipawa as we can. The plan for us work it back is to try and get that pump operational to get water up to Wainaki by Thursday and start pressure testing if we can once that line's ready. Then the pipe to be reinstated. So we're going to run water down the Te Aroha River from the dams. We'll pick it up here at Wainaki and then we'll start pumping it to town. We're hoping we can do 400 cube an hour, but it will depend on how clean it is. The next best thing will be to get the pipe restored and then have that from the bush intake up at Te Aroha and bring that down into Wainaki and treat that to send through while we wait to try and get dam water. The other thing we're looking at is some aquifers in town and seeing if we can pump out of the aquifers and put them in.
Hey, Dave, maybe turn your camera off. That might use a little bit less of the juice. Says the lady who doesn't know a lot about IT.
That's a technical term, isn't it? Really, juice.
Okay, it looks like we might have lost Dave, and it probably will drop out. So I think everyone has got a good understanding of there's so much happening, several work streams to address the issue from several different angles to try and get the best outcome. There are direct discussions with heavy water users daily. They are meeting with the teams. So we will keep you updated as it goes, and Heather will make sure we also send that presentation to councillors. And then as we go forward, we will update you more. If you have questions of Dave, please just email it through and we'll ask it of him when we see him. As you can appreciate, it might not be a top priority at this stage to answer a question when you can see in what conditions they are working. So, Tony, do you have a question?
I do. It'd just be really helpful having listened to Dave now, and it seems like the accessing the water from the dams isn't really going to be an option for probably a couple of months for that sediment to settle. So it'd be interesting to know just what a rudimentary timeline for the next 2 months is for supplementing. And I'm interested in the aquifer. I'm interested in understanding the two alternate uses or alternate supplies rather to supplement Waipawa, and sort of some really urgent timeframes around that. Like aquifers, I would have thought would have been an option pretty immediately, and there are bores near Waipawa. So it'd be interesting just to understand that, because those are the kind of questions that I'm being asked in the community from industry.
Yes,
And I don't know what that.
Yep. So like I say, Dave and his water team are in direct contact with industry and having daily discussions. And we can put those questions to Dave, but I do know that they have been addressing and attacking this issue from several angles to try and get the best and fastest and safest way to get water to the city. So we can, I will put that to him and we'll get back to you. Any other partai? Because then I also would like to just move to some business, because we do need to get back to some other stuff as well. So if there are no other partai, I'm going to ask you to go to page 9 of our paper. And that is recommendations. Nadine, do you want to give a quick 1 minute on what we are doing here?
Yep, sure can. Through your worship, so the paper we've got here is and the first recommendations A1A, B, C, D. Those are your existing appointments. What's happened since that time? We've had change of personnel. We've recruited a new recovery person. I've had resignations from recovery positions. And going through such a large scale event, we need some more the ability to be able to share the load. Ordinarily with unitary authorities, that load gets shared amongst staff, usually of second tier or third tier managers. So that is the approach that we've taken here. And also equally with the recovery managers needing a bit more breadth and depth in that space so that we can sub out. The recovery stage is going to be quite a long process, but I'm thinking, and we'll work with Ben around what that might look like as a structure. But in the meantime, we want to get these in place so that we're not having to convene any urgent SEDM group meetings to confirm people in the middle of any response efforts.
Thank you for that, Nadine. Councillor Wharehinga.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you for the report, Nadine. I just have one question. It's about other alternatives also for our group welfare manager. What I'm seeing out there is that where there's maybe 1 or 2 roles in one space, those people are both pretty much working 14-hour, 15-hour days, and that was my only kind of little point in regards to this. Like, I'd love to see maybe another 3 names, included as alternate group welfare managers, just so that we can give our whānau, like you're saying, spreading the load.
Yep.
Have you had thoughts in regards to that?
Yep, no, I agree with you on that, Councillor Wharehinga. So it's just a matter of identifying who those alternatives might be. It was relatively easy with the controller and recovery manager. So controller and recovery managers are roles that are officially appointed under statute by the group. The welfare manager can be appointed, so we can appoint a welfare manager as we need to. Doesn't require the and I haven't had an opportunity yet to talk with the group controller around some suitable alternative welfare managers. So that is a gap.
Thank
So
you.
thanks, Nadine.
Councillor Cranston, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, it states in the document that it's actually for future events and that. Just wondering about James's position where he's only there for a month. So do we have to look at someone that's a higher level one? So do we have to look at replacing him straight away, or it seems strange to be doing an appointment for just 1 month?
Yeah, so we have, in terms of recommendation 4B, Group Recovery Manager, Rebecca Halbert has started with us. She is our recovery manager. Is currently, so she was supposed to start in a week's time, but has come in and started early and is working alongside our recovery manager from Emergency Management Bay of Plenty, who has sat with us right through a number of these adverse events and supported us through our recovery effort as well. So she will be working alongside James and Julian in terms of recovery to grow her into the role that becomes effective from April 1. She will be our group recovery manager.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, councillors, is someone who's in the committee. So I'm now talking to myself, Josh, Debbie, Rawinia, Ani, and Rob. Can someone please move the paper?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Gregory, seconded by Councillor Wharehinga. I don't see any other hands up. All in favour? Committee hands up, please. Thank you. Passed. Thank you for that. Let me just take us to the back here. So this brings us to the end of this paper. Again, I just want to express my gratitude to each one of you playing your part in the community. The community looks to us when they ask questions. Thank you for sending your questions through the TMO appropriate information, because you can appreciate there are hundreds and hundreds of work streams happening in the ECC, and they all coordinated by logistics. So there would be welfare responses, comm responses, search and rescue responses, food welfare responses, roading responses. So it is a really complex system. So any questions or updates you had for that team would be either through your local civil defence or then through the TMO, which makes it easy for staff to prioritize and see where it fits in, because sometimes someone might think something is important, but once it's put together with all the other 55,000 requests, it might not be at the top of the ECC rescues priority list. And also by sending it through that way, we make sure it goes into the system, and it's not just someone that said something to someone or sent an email. Like I've said to you, I'm hundreds and hundreds of emails behind and text messages because we can't go that way. So thank you to all of you for really working hard on behalf of our community. Any questions, flick it our way. Otherwise, Nadine will keep us updated. We will slowly start shrinking the teams as we can, as we transition into recovery. Remember, we're still under a national state of emergency. I've been communicating with the minister, and we will be guided through that process, how we transition in and out, or not in, just out of our response into our recovery. So we will keep you updated. I know a lot of our meetings has been disrupted. There's no space here to meet, no staff to support us, and we all, like yourselves, are flat out. So Nadine and I will sit down over the weekend and also touch base with our committee chairs make sure we take a look at what needs to be prioritized first, because some of our decisions are really in a sequence, like our annual plan estimates, which we need to get through first. So it looks like next Thursday, we will have a full-on day. We will welcome Councillor Parata and Councillor Pahuru Huriwai via Zoom, obviously, and until we are connected again. And then the rest of us, hopefully, we would be able to move back into the chambers. If not, we see we can do it online. What an awesome team. So thank you very much. If there are no more partai, I'm going to close our meeting. And please feel free to touch base, ask your questions if you get queries from the community. Let's make sure we are in our communities as well, seeing where there are need. There will be gaps because we are covering a massive area. So if you are aware of something, please feed it back, and the teams can then prioritize it to make sure everyone's safe. So without further ado, Councillor Wharehinga, would you close our meeting with Karakia? Thank you.
Be more than happy to, Your Worship. Me noi tātou te whānau. Ka hua te tau, ka hua te rā, te marama o hina, ka tau nei te moana. Whakuru pū, whakuru pē, te whare pākauru tō pito kia atu, kia rongo, kia marama. Marama, whai oi o te heke tū auri te mata pūtahi, ngā paki tū, ngā paki ora ki ngā waipuapua kia tāne. O hini o tamaka tūku. Hōhiri ki te puna wai ora a tāne tokorangi toi tū, toi ora whakoti nuku, whakoti rangi whakora kia mau. Ka mau, whanō, tau mai te Māori, haumi e hui e, tā ki e. Kia ora mai tātou te whānau.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely seeing your friendly faces. Keep on smiling. We've got a long road of recovery ahead of us, so make sure you look after yourselves as well. Get enough sleep, because there's a lot of work ahead of us. I'm just reading. Oh, yes. So we're going to close off now, and we will touch base soon.